bit too close to the table. Right, guys, let's talk WWE 2K23 MyFaction mode. I'm Pixie, also known as Always Mute the Weirdo, and I am here to give you my thoughts on MyFaction mode. I've got it up on screen here. I'm just going to run through the game in terms of MyFaction mode. I'm not going to be playing any of it, so apologies if you want some footage of that. If I do get to the point where I feel like I've said what I need to say and I want to play some, we might do that. But for the time being, I'm going to review it, give my thoughts. So we're going to go back to the main menu. Right. So we have the first tab, which is live. This is a massive addition to MyFaction. Right, obviously we get these notifications of what's going on at the moment. That was there before, that's not new, but it's obviously on this live tab. Like it, it works, it's good, I'm happy with that. Then we've got locker codes. Again, not new, it's got a slot there, we know where it is, it's on the live tab, it's great, it's fine. Nothing really to say about that. I am hoping they're going to become more frequent. I'm hoping there's going to be one this weekend coming. Not this weekend we're in now, but this weekend coming for the Money in the Bank in the UK. Hoping there's going to be some locker codes for that. Be really nice to get like some British wrestlers, particularly like high-end ones, or like an Evolution card even. Then we've got the challenges and the live events. Now we'll go quickly into challenges. This is nothing particularly special. You've got your daily challenges, you've got your intro challenges, you've got your lifetime challenges. Personally, dailies is solid, great idea. Yeah, definitely needed. Can't remember if it was in originally, I think it was, or there was at least challenges in there. This is good. This is, you can't fault this. I mean, doing 50 crowd taunts in a day, it's doable, but it feels a bit excessive. But I think they're just doing it because it's supposed to be a challenge. But to me, that's the reason why I wouldn't personally have 50 crowd taunts, because it's not really a challenge, it's just excessive grinding, just constant, like, doing the same thing. It's not, to me, I play wrestling games like I see it on TV. I try and make the match entertaining. Yeah, I'm not expecting to like have a lot more back and forth, a lot of back and forth like it does on actual TV. But I do try and have some back and forth on there, and I do try and not have pointless stuff. Sorry that I keep looking back. I'm just expecting a delivery. But so then the intro challenges, the only one I haven't done is the multiplayer intro. I'm hoping that I might just give that a go one day and just think, sod it, I'll just do it to get the 100 MFP. But I'm not really too bothered about the multiplayer. I'll talk about it briefly, but I haven't experienced it, so I won't criticise it. I'll just say why I'm not bothered. Then you've got lifetime challenges, which is standard for the game. I love the fact there's all these challenges to do. Diamond Seekers, we've got Amethyst Seekers, which I've only got 3 to get apparently, which is pretty cool. Bronze Seekers, I've still got loads on that, because I don't like buying older cards, and I joined the game late. So, yeah. Evolve 10 cards, well, that is going to be really hard to do because, well, let's face it, they haven't allowed as many evolution cards. I'm hoping that that will come in time. I think maybe they're seeing the evolution cards as they were a bit too frequent and a bit too common last year. But anyway, there's lots of awesome like challenges you can do on it, which is great. The meat of this tab is obviously the live events, so we'll go into the live events. I'll show you what that is. Now, I'm very, very positive about this, but I am going to criticise it because I think there's some elements to it which are a bit frustrating and a bit annoying, and more annoying for someone who's come into it later on, partly due to finances, partly due to just I'm getting sick and tired of WWE putting out what I believe to be a half-assed attempt sometimes at a wrestling game. They've been making these games for a long, long time now. You'd think we'd be getting better quality, but we don't. We get the same. It's never terrible, but it's never amazing. Like, and it will, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and throw AEW under the bus a bit here as well. We've been waiting so long for Fight Forever now. I am going to be highly surprised if it's even remotely acceptable in terms of a wrestling game. For a first attempt, they'll always get a pass. But this is the last time they get a pass from me. If the next year, the next iteration of AEW video game is garbage, then like they're not getting a pass anymore. I'm not making the same mistake I did with WWE. I don't have the attachment to AEW like I do WWE. So to be fair, I'm not going to give them as much slack. But back to WWE 2K23. We have all these timed matches. Now, I hate timed content. I hate it, but this is okay. Like, I like what it brings to the table. It brings matches that you can do to gain extra points, specific battles. Now, this is the one that pissed me off. The Bloodline versus the Heart Foundation is a great thing. I love it. It's awesome. I wanted to take part in it. But, number one, I didn't get the game till later on. So this was started pretty early on in my time with the game. I hadn't unlocked Jimmy Uso. I hadn't unlocked Jey Uso. So I was like, to be honest, I'd like the opportunity to unlock these people. So, putting that aside, I went and I looked and they came up again. So I thought, oh great, I can unlock the characters. I can play the matches, the earlier matches, unlock the characters, and it'll be awesome. So I tried, and the only one I got was Jimmy Uso. I got the first one. I couldn't get the others because of the time that it landed, which again, this is why I don't like timed events. I appreciate that it's a thing, and I appreciate that they have their positives, but if you don't happen to be on the train at that particular moment, you don't get to experience the content. Especially if I have only got Rikishi, so I can't actually compete in that match. So it should, for me, be more flexible, but I believe, based on Ultimate Team, based on other games, that they are purely using the MyFaction to grind money out of people, which we'll discuss later when we get to that tab. But personally, I think it's wrong. I think it shouldn't be allowed. I think there should be an element to it, but I think anything that you need to unlock, you should be able to do in the game to the point of at any time. Not, oh, if you're lucky enough to be available at the time when we run the event. So, apart from that, it's a really good sort of game. This is a guy that I want to unlock. I want to unlock the Eddie Guerrero card, but I can't. And I like this as well. Tiered rewards, so you have a reason to play it 4 times. Or maybe if you completed all 3, you just get it, so you only have to complete it 3 times. But basically, that only comes around every once in a while, and it seems to be a weekly event, maybe slightly longer. And on this one, again, 3 tiers, great, but I can't compete in that one. And obviously, I want to get this one, but I haven't got Indie Night of Champions card, so I can't compete in it. And for those who started the game at the beginning when it first came out, it probably isn't a big deal, because they probably have certain cards. But I don't see how people who don't revolve their life around one game should be penalised within that game. And that's what it feels like to me. It's not you want people to play a game, so you penalise people who don't play it all the time. Or people who aren't good enough to basically grind it out quicker. Because I'm good at the game, but the content that gets me stuck, which we'll talk about later, it kind of annoys me, and therefore I'm not as good as everybody, the top tier players maybe. I'm okay, I do get by, and there's quite a lot of people who probably are just casual gamers who might not do as well as me, but I'd like to think that there are plenty of players out there who would wipe the floor with me, and this is, again, we'll come to the online multiplayer aspect of it as well. But this is a great mode. It's a great idea. It just needs a little bit of tweaking in my eyes. Less of this needing certain characters, or not necessarily less of needing certain characters, but we'll come into it. There is another reason how they could fix that I want to touch upon. So we've got this, we've got that, we've got, you get to see what latest packs are and stuff, what latest rewards for faction wars are, and it's great. So we're going to play now, and this is where the bread and butter is. So you can even play weekly towers. So we'll go into weekly towers, and I've done quite a few since I've started. I've only been playing it a week or two, and you get rewards for each tower, and it's great that you get these rewards, and you've got all these matches to play through. Now, my issue with the weekly towers, again, great mode, love it, don't think they should change it much, is so we've got money in the bank ladder matches. When you start throwing in more than one opponent, the challenge is not can you win, the challenge is can you stop them from winning, because they don't care whether the other AI wins. It's just chaos. It's mental, particularly obviously you can see that I've completed it, but I can tell you it took me multiple attempts, and I'm talking a minimum of 3 or 4 times. To do these multi-person ladder matches. And it's like I said, I'm good, but I'm not top tier. It just destroys me. I'm just there and I lose focus, and I can't. Sometimes I win and then I realise I haven't got the points because I'm so pissed off that I've actually got an opportunity to go get the ladder. I'm like, crap, quick, get the ladder, get up the ladder, get the win. And then I realise, yeah, they've let me, but I don't actually have enough points to win the match. So basically I can't actually do it because it says win the match and earn at least 60 points on that one. So that's a taunt, 2 taunts, a signature and a finisher on the most basic level. Now, it's easy to do those things, but sometimes in a chaotic ladder match, it's easy to forget to do those things as well. So, multi-person matches, I'm not a massive fan of in these towers. I like having the odd one, and I think that's reasonable. So, for this one, it gradually increases up, but I feel they need to make sure that they don't get oversaturated with multi-person matches unless it's actually a multi-person tower. I can imagine they will have those as an option. So you've got the weekly towers, which I think is good, and they don't really need to change much there. Maybe they could be a bit more generous with the rewards based on how much of a grind it is to do it. But a lot of people will be happy with that, and I'm not too fussed. So this is the next one, and I like Proving Grounds. I like the way they've set it up. So you can play this on normal, hard, or legendary, and then you get better rewards depending on how you get through. And obviously then, as you can see on the right, there's rewards within the Proving Grounds towers of like first challenges, damage 35 opponents' heads red, land 35 signature moves, and then earn the full medals, 15 medals, you get a pack. And that seems to be the general pattern. You get packs all the way down. Can't fault this mode. Again, it's the multi-person matches that piss me off in this. Let me see if there is any. So like 6-man tags are okay. So like that match was a bit of a challenge to get the legendary on. And then we're getting into it here. Like I've only got the hard on that because I was like, let's just get hard on it for now, and then we'll go back and do it on legendary. I'm not exactly looking forward to this one, but I think I'll be able to manage it. But you know, it's more of the same, but it is slightly different, and it's well worth. It's well worth. Like, I guess this is like the towers. They've set up a career of towers for you to go through that's available from the start. That's like, right, you know, just go through all this when you've got time, when you want. Crack on. Faction Wars is the bread and butter. Really, beyond those two modes, this is the game mode that a lot of people are playing. You play against an AI controlled version of other people's factions. I don't know if this is likely to integrate with your friends list, but if it did, that'd be cool. I don't know if it does. At the minute, I just play, and I don't know any of my friends' faction names because I don't really have. I used to play this game on console, so most of the people who I know who play it probably playing it on console. And you get different rewards based on the wins that you've got. As you can see, I've not got very far. I'm only at 33. I know of people who are way up at 100-ish, maybe more, who have just like basically grinded it out. But I love how you get different rewards for doing the match. And it's a 4-on-4 battle, and you can choose which faction team out of your own you want to be, the women or the men. And if you've got multiple factions created, which I do, which we'll get onto, you can actually do that. You can actually use whichever one you want. You don't have to have them as active. It automatically works. When you win these packs, obviously it's a great way to earn some new superstars to play with. You can't fault it. It's a great mode, and I prefer the fact that it is offline and you don't have to fight against another player. Again, we'll touch on that more when we get to the quick match thing. But yeah, it's great. But again, I feel sometimes like the rewards are a bit weak. So getting 5 tokens, I feel like maybe getting 5 is not such a big deal. But up until a certain level up until a certain level of card, like I think it's Amethyst or Ruby or whatever, 5 is a reasonable amount. It's fine. So if you're in the early throes of unlocking the tokens and that's okay at 5, but hopefully that increases. But I don't think it does. And you get like cosmetic rewards as well, and I mean, just seeing Bobby Roode further up just pisses me off because I've already had about 3 Bobby Roodes that I've had to. 2 of them obviously have been rejected to some extent. I've got the duplicates, so you get like a minuscule amount of MFP back. So this, 4-on-4, great. You've got the briefcase rewards over here where you can unlock stuff, and I think that is a really good system. And the fact that you can potentially earn a second briefcase, I'm all about that. That's like really good. I'm a massive fan. So I can't fault Faction Wars as a mode really. It's a bit of a grind because you've got four opponents on the three opponents on the apron, one in the ring, and so you kind of have to take them all. I always have to take them all off the ring apron, knock them all out, and then I can get a pin. And obviously, if you hit your finisher, ooh, I'm going to kick out, and then you do a basic move. There's a top tip for you. If you do your finisher and they kick out, just hit them with a boring move, and they probably won't kick out because the game's retarded like that. Finishers don't finish people, but arm bars or arm breaks, you can probably pin them with. It's a bit stupid. And it's all come about because the WWE's got this exciting false finish obsession. So we got Faction Wars. And then finally Quick Play. Now I haven't played Quick Play. I don't know how good it is. But a lot of people I know were clamouring for this mode. They were clamouring for Faction Wars, but actually playing against real people. Now I personally think WWE doesn't do online games very well. Their online gaming experience has always been pretty poor. So I don't know if I want Quick Play as an option. I'm not bothered about it, so I'm glad that Faction Wars is offline because then I can actually earn some points and enjoy the game. For me, going online and playing against other people, I just either get my ass whipped or I annihilate them and I feel bad for the person I've just battered. Mostly the former, mostly the me getting battered, but I do like the idea that it's there for people who want to play it. I might give it a go just to get that intro challenge done, but I'm not in a rush. One-on-one match, pin or submission, I think that changes every so often, which is nice. But I'm not really bothered. I'll have a look, and if it opens up a door that I'm quite keen to look into more, then I'll probably do some kind of separate little video on that. But for now, I'm not bothered about Quick Play. So it's just kind of a mode that if you're interested, it's there. It's probably kind of fun for those of you who can deal with the online being shit. But for me, not a fan. Then we go into headquarters. So this is where I've got plenty to talk about because for me, obviously this is where you find your collection of your cards. This is your collector level, which obviously gives you more rewards depending on how many you unlock. I feel like, you know, it's really nice to get certain cards. As you're going up your card level, you collect more and yeah, it's great. So that aside, this is my bugbear. Evolution cards. So in 2K22, I felt like you got way too many evolution cards. There was a lot of them, and I couldn't keep up with doing all the challenges for each one. So I wanted slightly less. I didn't, however, want none at all. And these two that I got when I started the game feel like a cheap, pathetic excuse for an evolution card because they only go up from silver to gold, then gold to emerald. Like, I'm not bothered. It's just so pointless to level these up because they're instantly beaten by cards that you unlock really early on. Or they were for me. Like, Braun is still in my deck because I don't have another version of Braun Breaker and I wanted to have him specifically. Roxanne Perez, I've got a Ruby version of her pretty quickly. I think I've got another version of her that's in between Emerald and Ruby as well, so or like Sapphire. I just don't understand where they've gone. They seem to have completely disappeared. I don't know if it's because I've not played enough of the game, whether you have to play a good chunk of the game to get an evolution card, but when you go into the packs, there's no evolution cards. Now, I don't know if that's by design, if that's because they think that people were just focusing on the evolution cards and not really buying any packs, But I sense that they might be all to do with money, the reasoning behind it. I don't think that it's to do with what the fans want or the gameplay that we wanted or anything. I think it's basically because they want more money out of us, and therefore the only way they can do that is to direct us to the packs. But I am a bit confused as to why there's not more Evolution cards. And if anybody knows how to get some more Evolution cards, or if they're just only possible via DLC, there we go, there's my package. I don't have to keep turning around now. So yeah, if there's that, then fair enough. I'm not really too fussed. Let's leave it at that. So, going into the factions, you've got 8 slots. I've created so many factions just purely because I wanted to use certain superstars and it's easier access if I create multiple factions. My original faction, based off obviously my time out of real wrestling, as the leader of the Yep movement, I thought let's create the Yep movement. And obviously I had Bron Breakker from the start, and then gradually it's evolved over time. I think the only person who's been in it since the start was Ridge Holland. Stone Cold came into it fairly early on, and then Carmelo Hayes is the latest addition. And I only put in Carmelo Hayes in there because I wanted somebody different in, and I thought I had him, so I thought, cracking, let's use him. Roxanne Perez obviously was the original green version that I'd evolved her, and then I got Roxanne Perez Ruby, so she's in there. The rest have kind of stayed in there since the start. I can actually upgrade Alba Fire. I can also now upgrade Io. And I can upgrade Nikita Lyons. So I've upgraded my superstars there. So it's fairly easy to work, easy to do. You go in, you can put your contracts on. I'm just going to put silver on Bron Breakker because I'm not really using this faction at the minute. I might put silver on Carmella, and I might put a gold on Austin because it's Stone Cold. So you know you've got these, and again let's put a gold on Roxanne Perez. And it's good, you know, and you've got like all the different levels of contracts that you can upgrade them. Like, they've not changed a lot in terms of, there's a lot that remains the same basically, and I think that that's a positive thing to look at. Customization, again, it's not amazing, but it's okay. Like I've got plenty of, I've unlocked plenty of. I feel like that's actually a better option to go with that. You know, I've come up with ideas for faction. I did the Nation of Domination. I based it off like the idea of, originally it was based off the idea of the New Day, the Hurt Business, and the Bloodline, because I had a few people from each of those factions, but not all 4 from one. So I had to put different people in. Then I recently picked up an Apollo Crews that was a little bit better, so I thought, oh, I could put in Apollo Crews and Jimmy Uso, which I've picked up recently, and then Bobby Lashley can be in there as well, and just like have it as a sort of bloodline fucking esque with a bit on the side sort of thing. So I did that, and then I thought, I'll just make the best that I've got of the other superstars, put Tamina in there because she'd be part of the, she'd link that, and then Zelina because she's always been in factions, and Charlotte because she's dominant, not that we like her, but anyway, and then Shotzi's badass, so we'll put her in there. So I've got the Nation of Domination, then I thought I wanted a Judgment Day / Balor Club / you know, Dolph Ziggler with, when Dolph Ziggler was like with Big E and AJ, and then like that kind of vibe. So I had Dominic, so I put Dominic in. Then I thought, oh, I've got an Edge. I'll put Edge in. Um, I did unlock recently a Finn Balor, so Finn Balor's arrived, so it's become more Judgment Day. But Dolph Ziggler's in there because he's, he's a stalwart, he's a fucking workhorse, and good to have on your team. And he was a high card compared to what I had in here originally. And then I've just thrown a random bunch of people who I might think might work well in Judgment Day, and Aaliyah's just kind of in there because she was surprisingly a high card that I had, and I didn't understand why she was higher than all three of these, to be honest. But Cora Jade, Gigi Dolin, and Sonya Deville, all three of them I could see in like either Judgment Day or Toxic Attraction. Obviously, Gigi's already been in it. But yeah, I thought that was a good sort of vibe. Then X-Pac was the only veteran card I had at the time, and I thought, let's make a faction based around X Factor and DX, like people who could have easily slotted in, people with charisma, people with faction experience, people who could do that. So I had X-Pac, Austin Theory, Grayson Waller, and Sami Zayn in there. And then I thought, well, Cora Jade, Xia Li have both been in, Xia Li's been in faction. Cora Jade definitely fits the DX vibe. Kaden and Katana are a good tag team, and that kind of balances that out. I don't know who I'd have as the tag team here. Possibly have Austin Theory and Grayson Waller as the team, and then have Sami Zayn and X-Pac. Sami Zayn as the world champ and X-Pac as the mid-card champion, but the leader. See how that played out. So we've got, and then I called them the X Factory based on obviously the factory stuff from AEW and X-Pac having the X Factor group. Then you might have heard the rumors throughout wrestling. Seth Rollins wants to create a faction with Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Cody Rhodes. Well, I can't do that, but I thought it'd be cool to have a Seth Rollins themed faction, sort of like a WWE version of the Main Event Mafia. And I've got like Jey Uso because he's Main Event Jey Uso. I put Cameron Grimes in there because he's going to go to the moon, and that seems like it fits. I've got Seth Rollins because it's his faction, and then I got Sami Zayn because that's the only guy I had from the lineup that Seth wanted, and I'm a massive Sami Zayn fan, so there we go. Alexa Bliss seemed to fit. Alba Fire, again, a high card that I've got. Roxanne Perez, a high card that I've got, and Io Sky is another high card that I've got, but I can now replace with a Ruby. I don't think I have a higher Alexa Bliss, but I do have Zelina Vega or Dakota Kai. Yeah, so we got Dakota Kai and Io Sky, which could be the tag team. Then we've got Alba Fire and Roxanne Perez, who could be single stars, even though Alba Fire at the minute is in the tag team. But I'm not sure if Isla Dawn's even in the game. She might be in DLC. So yeah, so you got your customization, and you got your managers. At the minute, I'm doing alright with this faction. But yeah, and then the final one is just top cards that I've got. So I just called it Elite. I thought it'd be cool to have top cards in one faction, and it helps with the live events because usually the live events are, you need 4 Ruby Superstars. So I'm like, oh, well, if I have 4 Ruby Superstars, maybe I should have a faction with those in so that I could just select that faction whenever I have to fight those battles. So yeah, so I quite like that, and I thought I'd go for a Team Angle kind of vibe with a Hurricane on the side, because when I look, I didn't really want to put Roman Reigns in it. Finn Balor's obviously Amethyst, so I didn't really want to put him in there either. So those are my factions. And We've already talked about the evolution card. So now we come on to the store and the packs. Token market, nothing really to say about it. It's as is. It's decent. It's okay. It's nothing special. I just think they're a bit stingy with the tokens to unlock the superstars. But again, I think that's largely to keep people playing the game and to increase people potentially buying with real money packs, etc., which I think again is disgusting. I've never been a fan of microtransactions in games. I've paid money for the game, give me the whole fucking game. If you can't make it possible, which is possible, but it's very freaking grindy. So the lowest, this is where it gets silly for me, right? So 29's fine, 2900 fine, 3500 fine, but 29,000, 35,000, no. Like, do a discount. Actually give people something back. It doesn't hurt you as a company or as a game to give me something that's going to make it more fun. Especially the lower end packs. Like, yeah, like, say, okay, so we got 29, free 500, right? Maybe make a 10, maybe make a 10 thing, maybe make that, like, I don't know, 3 times 5, 15, maybe make it 15,000, and then maybe make that 30,000, and maybe make that 60,000. Just bring them down a bit. I don't even want to comment on the VC because I just don't think it should be an option. Like, if it is an option, it should be very minimal. I think if you want to earn money out of extorting people to buy packs, you should make the amount that it costs minimal so that more people are interested in doing it. Like, I'd maybe throw some money at it if it was an absolute minimal amount. But the fact that you are expecting me to spend a tenner or more to get a very minuscule amount, and when I look at how much it is, it's freaking insane amount of money of VC credits to actually get anything, then no, I'm not interested, because you're just basically trying to fleece me. Again, these, also, whenever I seem to get Danger Zone like silver rather than gold, I seem to get like Bobby Roode like every single time. So I'm trying to get Jimmy and Jey Uso for the challenge that we were talking about earlier, and I'm just like getting Bobby Roode or somebody that I don't, somebody that I've already got, or somebody that I'm not really bothered for. If you have a live event going on that requires a certain superstar, there should be an option to basically buy that superstar for, say for instance, it's from the Danger Zone pack. You should be able to buy it for 4,500. You should just be able to buy it for that. 4,500. There you go, you get that. But you don't get any of the consumables or any extra stuff. You just get that character. It's the same price as the lowest level pack of that thing. I think that would be really cool to do that. Give people another option so that they can guarantee that they get a certain card that they need. Obviously, you'd have to have a live event for that card, so you wouldn't be able to do it for every card, but any live event that you want to do, you could tie it to that. I think that's a really good idea. So yeah, so we've got all these, and they go up in value. they go up in value. Like, that's come back down because it's basics, you know. But let's go to view. This is the latest pack. There is not a single evolution in there. There's not a single evolution in there. There's not a single evolution in there. Yeah, there's not a single evolution. And again, I'm sad to say that I think that the whole point of this game mode is to be like Ultimate Team and make kids go to mummy and daddy and ask them to spend tons and tons of money on a game that they've already bought. And I think any mum and dad who gives their kid a little bit of money, fair enough. But any mum and dad who's giving their kids money all the time to basically buy packs on Ultimate Team or on this is just plain silly, because it's just not worth it. But obviously, I've played these games, I've seen how it works, I have that knowledge. Not every parent has that knowledge. Seriously, like, this should be outlawed. It should be illegal. You should not be able to put microtransactions. Let me go into the store, get VC, let's see how much. You can spend £90, which is more than the game cost originally, for 400,000 VC credits that you can spend very quickly. It makes no sense. Anything that's above, like, I'd say $44.99 and $89.99 should not be an option. If people want to buy multiple versions of the $17.99 one because they just want the VC packs, fine. But those should not be an option. It should not be an option. And there should be options, like, the price should shift. So basically, you get 400,000 for maybe, you should get more for that amount, and more for that amount, more for that amount. And then maybe they can have like a £1 option or a £2 option. I just think they're basically extorting people for money. They've made a decent game, but it's not perfect. And they know it's not perfect. And they've spent how many years making these games, and they still just miss a lot of the what people want. They still miss out on a lot of it, and they'll always have an excuse ready, or it's money, we need to make money. Well, like, if you were to make, like, I'll quite happily probably buy the DLC. I've got Fight Forever and Diablo 4 to buy, but I'll quite happily probably buy the DLC at a cut price, like 20 quid. And I'll quite happily give them that money. But I'm not paying £5 upwards to unlock stuff faster, when you could have made that possible in the actual game. So that's my basic review of Faction Wars. I think personally the live mode I would improve by allowing you inside live mode to buy. So let's go into it. So, like, I don't have Indy. I want an option here on this screen that says, do you want to purchase Indy Hartwell for 4,500 or whatever it was, and it make it a nice amount of MFP, but not like ridiculous. Make it like whatever pack she's a part of, make it the price of the basic pack. That would be my logic. And then you can still do that actual event, which is great. I'd also, that would eliminate the problem that I have here with this. I could basically grind out MFP to unlock each one of these rather than be available at the exact time. There's so much they could do there, and then literally just eliminate the multi-person, make the AI better so that the multi-person ladder matches are not a nightmare. But I want to say that the improvements they've made are good, and I would happily play the game mode, and I do regularly. It's the game mode I play all the time. I don't really play any of the other game modes. I've heard Universe is terrible this year, so I've not touched it yet. I used to play Universe mode more than anything, but I like this card collecting mechanic in this game, and I want to embrace it more, but I don't want to grind out for days on end to get one card and then find that when I go into that, RNG gods have not favoured me and I get something I've already got and I get a pitiful 200 MFP back when I've got to save like 4,500 up for the pack. It's, if you don't get enough, if you don't get a card that you've not got, you should get enough money to get another pack. You should get enough, or more or less enough. Like, even if it's like the minimum, like the lowest pack. So for instance, let's go to the packs and let's go to this. Even if they give you 2,900, they say, all right, you didn't get the card that you wanted from the pack, so we'll give you 2,900 so you can get another pack. Unless it's this pack. So say it's this. So say for this pack. Yeah, for the first two packs, maybe you get half. Maybe you get 1,500 or something. You know, but balance it a little bit fairer to those of us who don't have unlimited time to play on the game. Because not only have I not got unlimited time to play on this game, I've got other games I want to play as well. So the time that I have for any game is, you know, spread across multiple games. I'm a gamer. I like to play a lot of games, not just one game. And I think the developers need to see that and go, okay, right, so we know people aren't just going to play our game. So how about we make our game more fun, more enjoyable experience, so that when they do play our game, they want to play it for longer, or they want to come back to it. But I've been Always Mute the Weirdo. This has been WWE 2K23 MyFaction mode review. It's been a pleasure airing my thoughts on this this game mode. If you liked it, please do leave us a like. I'm going to put it up on YouTube. Yes, I will do it this time, he says to himself. And yeah, let me know what you think. What do you love about this mode? What do you hate about it? What do you think would improve it? What do you think the reasoning behind it is? Am I on the money with the money, if you will, on the money with the grinding and the expecting people will pay for packs? Personally, I won't. But yeah, it's been a pleasure. I'll catch you next time, and hopefully, if you are watching this, feel free to check out Always Mute the Weirdo on Twitch. I will probably be putting a lot of highlights on there over the next week or so, because I want to cover some Next Fest stuff which is happening on Steam. So, tatty bye, enjoy, see you in a bit.